Get on your knees where you belong, boy. Patricia's manicured hand slammed into Marcus's face with vicious precision. His leather portfolio exploded, sending his MIT doctorate skittering across marble like trash. The Grand Metropolitan Hotel lobby went dead silent. 50 witnesses, 20 phones are already recording. Marcus Washington, 28, and wearing a suit worth more than most cars, stayed on one knee gathering his scattered papers. Blood dotted his lip. His grandfather's worn watch caught the crystal chandelier light. Patricia Whitmore loomed over him, her authority radiating through designer heels and a predatory smile. Security! This animal tried to rob our guests. She kicked his briefcase. Legal documents scattered further. Marcus rose slowly, diploma in hand, voice steady as steel. Ma'am, I believe there's been a misunderstanding. I'm here for the board meeting. Patricia laughed, sharp and cutting. Board meeting? You? Have you ever watched someone destroy themselves without knowing it? The digital lobby clock glowed accusingly. 10:47 a.m., board meeting in 13 minutes. Patricia's eyes narrowed to laser points as Marcus straightened his tie. Board meeting? You? Her laugh cut through marble acoustics like breaking glass. Let me guess, you're here to mop the floors. Marcus knelt again, methodically collecting his papers. Among the scattered documents, a first-class boarding pass from London Heathrow, a Black American Express Centurion card, and a confidential folder marked Whitmore Industries Restructure Proposal, EYESONLY. Patricia didn't notice. She was performing for her growing audience. I've seen your type before, she announced, voice climbing toward hysteria. Fake suits, stolen credentials, probably causing this place for your drug dealer friends. A young woman near the concierge desk pulled out her phone. Jennifer Kim, corporate lawyer, 32, with 50,000 Instagram followers who trusted her judgment. She hit go live without hesitation. This is absolutely insane, she whispered to her camera. Hotel manager racially profiled a guest at the Grand Metropolitan. This is 2025 people. Viewers, 127, 340, 891. Marcus stood slowly, documents organized with military precision. Miss Whitmore, I believe we share a mutual connection. Patricia's face twisted. Don't you dare speak my name like you know me, boy. Security. 2 guards approached Luis, mid-40s Hispanic, and Thomas, a black veteran with careful eyes. Both hesitated seeing Marcus's expensive belongings and calm demeanor. Ma'am, Thomas said quietly, maybe we should check his identification first. Patricia whirled on him with venomous fury. Don't think you shared background gives you special insight here, Thomas. This man is a criminal. Are you going to do your job or not? The crowd murmured. Phones multiplied like mushrooms after rain. Jennifer's live stream exploded. Viewers, 2,847, 4,203, 7,891. Comments flooded her screen. This is textbook discrimination. Someone call the police on her. Recording everything for evidence. Marcus pulled out his iPhone, not frantically, but with deliberate calm. The screen showed an unread text. Dad, hope your first day goes smoothly. The board's excited to meet you finally. He typed back, running a few minutes late. Handling some hotel business. 10:50 a.m. Sir, Luis ventured carefully, could you show us some ID? Just to clear this up, Patricia exploded. No! I don't care what fake documents he has. Look at him. This is exactly how they operate. Expensive clothes, confident attitude, probably rehearsed this whole routine. She grabbed Marcus's arm roughly, her manicured nails digging through his jacket. I'm calling the police. Grand theft, trespassing, probably armed robbery. Marcus didn't resist, but his voice carried new authority. Ms. Whitmore, before you make that call, you might want to check the morning news. Whitmore Industries just announced their new strategic development director. So what? Patricia snarled. He starts today. Board meeting at 11. The crowd pressed closer. Jennifer's audience hit 15,000 viewers, her phone battery at 67% and dropping. Patricia's Uncle James Mitchell, CFO and board member, emerged from the elevator checking his phone with a growing alarm. His silver hair was perfectly styled, but his expression showed pure panic. "Patricia!" he called out sharply. "What's this about a racial incident?" "Our PR department is melting down Twitter mentions through the roof. Stock price dropping." "Uncle James, thank God!" Patricia turned, relief flooding her features. "This criminal is trying to scam us, claiming he works for the company. Obviously identity theft." James looked at Marcus' expensive suit, quality leather goods, calm professional bearing, then at his phone showing Jennifer's live stream. His face went corpse pale. 10:52 a.m. Marcus addressed the crowd directly. "Ladies and gentlemen, I understand Ms. Whitmore's protective instincts. Her family built this company from nothing, but she's making assumptions that will cost more than she realizes." "Assumptions?" Patricia's voice cracked with indignation. "I know criminals when I see them." "How do you know about my family?" she demanded suddenly, suspicion replacing rage. Marcus's smile was winter cold. "Ma'am, I've studied every Whitmore property for the past 18 months. Your great-grandfather started with one hotel in 1923. Your grandmother Margaret expanded to 5 locations. Your father runs the corporation while you manage the flagship." The live stream audience swelled. 23,847 viewers, 31,203, 45,672. "Studied us." Patricia grabbed his wrist, her grip desperate. "You're a stalker! Security! Arrest him for harassment!" Marcus didn't pull away. "Ms. Whitmore, I studied your family because I'll be working very closely with them. Starting today, 10:54 a.m. "Working with us?" James Mitchell pushed through the crowd, his phone buzzing incessantly. "Sir, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Marcus replied. "Just poor timing." Patricia sensed the shift but doubled down. "Uncle James, don't let him manipulate you. This is exactly how con artists operate. They research their targets, use inside information." Her voice rose to near shrieking. "Look at him! Does he look like executive material to you?" The lobby went dead silent. 50 people held their breath. 20,000 viewers waited. Marcus touched his still bleeding lip and smiled. "Ms. Whitmore, in approximately 6 minutes, you're going to discover that appearances can be very deceiving." 10:55 a.m. The elevator chimed. The full Whitmore Industries Board of Directors emerged 8 executives in $1,000 suits. Leading them was a distinguished black man, 60-ish, with Marcus's exact same eyes and the quiet confidence of someone who'd built empires. He took one look at the scene, his son's bloodied lip, the scattered documents, the recording phones, and his expression hardened to obsidian. Patricia saw him and panicked. "Security! Get this criminal out before the board arrives." The older man pulled out his phone and spoke one word: legal. Marcus checked his grandfather's watch. 10:56 a.m. 4 minutes until the board meeting. 4 minutes until Patricia Whitmore learned she'd just assaulted her own cousin. Jennifer's phone screen exploded with notifications. Her Instagram Live viewership climbed like a rocket. 47,000, 52,000, 61,000 viewers. Comments flooded faster than she could read. "This manager needs to be fired." "At Whitmore Industries, your employee is racist. AF. Someone's about to lose their job. Plot twist coming. Watch the CEO's face." Other phones joined the digital firing squad. TikTok videos multiplied across the lobby. Number sign Whitmore Hotel began trending nationally. 10:57 a.m. Derek Morrison, assistant manager, sprinted from the back office clutching his tablet. At 26, he'd worked hotels long enough to smell career-ending disasters. His screen showed their company mentions skyrocketing, none of them good. "Patricia, what's happening?" He thrust the tablet at her. "Social media is going insane. Our Twitter mentions jumped 300% in 5 minutes. Patricia cut him off with a violent gesture. "This criminal tried to infiltrate our board meeting. He's probably planning to rob everyone." Derek studied Marcus' pressed suit, expensive watch, calm demeanor, then Patricia's flushed face and the wall of recording phones. "Ma'am," Derek said carefully, "maybe we should handle this privately." "No!" Patricia's voice shattered against marble walls. "I won't let political correctness stop me from protecting this hotel. Call 911. Now." The corporate panic. James Mitchell pushed through the crowd, his phone buzzing like an angry wasp. Text messages flooded his screen. Board member Sarah Lane. "James, what's this video about racial profiling?" "PR director, stock down 2%. I need a statement immediately. Legal department, potential liability exposure. Advise immediate damage control." "Patricia," James called out, his voice strained. "We need to talk. The board is asking questions." "Uncle James!" Patricia spun toward him, desperation bleeding through her authority mask. "This man is dangerous." "He's been stalking our family, gathering intelligence." "Intelligence?" James looked at Marcus again, noting the first-class boarding pass visible among his papers, the Centurion card, the confident posture despite being assaulted. The growing audience. Around the lobby, the crowd swelled. Hotel guests emerged from elevators. Restaurant patrons abandoned their breakfast. Concierge staff pretended to work while filming secretly. A businessman in Armani started his own TikTok live. Corporate meltdown happening right now at Grand Metropolitan. 2 teenagers with matching pink hair went live on Snapchat, whispering commentary like sports announcers. A group of corporate lawyers shared the drama on LinkedIn with professional outrage. The Grand Metropolitan had transformed into a digital coliseum, and Patricia was feeding herself to the lions. The viral explosion. Jennifer's audience exploded. 78,000, 91,000, 107,000 viewers. Her battery, 34% and falling. "This is unreal," she whispered to her camera. The CEO just walked in and his expression, "Guys, something massive is about to happen. The tension in here is insane." Cross-platform sharing accelerated the chaos. Twitter, hashtag Whitmore racism trending in 12 countries. TikTok, hashtag Hotel Karen, videos multiplying exponentially. Facebook, corporate groups sharing with shocked emoji reactions. Reddit, live threads dissecting every detail, frame by frame. YouTube, commentary channels preparing emergency videos. Stock trading algorithms noticed the social media surge. Whitmore Industries stock dropped another 1.5 percentage points in real time. 10:58 a.m. Marcus checked his grandfather's watch, the worn leather band hiding secrets Patricia couldn't imagine. Inside the strap, barely visible unless you knew to look, were engraved initials. R.W.W. Richard William Whitmore, the founder. 2 minutes, Marcus murmured, his voice carrying newfound authority. "What did you say?" Patricia demanded, her pitch climbing toward hysteria. 2 minutes until the board meeting starts. I prefer punctuality on my first day." Patricia laughed, but the sound cracked like breaking glass. "First day? You're insane. Security, why haven't you removed this delusional criminal?" Thomas, the black security guard, shifted uncomfortably. "Ma'am, he hasn't actually done anything illegal." "Hasn't done anything?" Patricia screamed, spittle flying. "He's trespassing." "He's impersonating a company employee. He's probably armed. The family arrives. The distinguished black man CEO Richard Whitmore approached with measured steps that seemed to slow time itself. His board members flanked him like a corporate phalanx, 8 executives worth collectively over $2 billion. Each face showed the same expression, horror at what they were witnessing. Patricia saw them coming and played her final fatal card. "Mr. Whitmore," she called out, relief flooding her voice like a broken dam. "Thank God you're here. This criminal has been impersonating one of our employees." Richard Whitmore's eyes never left his son's bloodied lip. "Claiming he works for us, probably planning to rob the board meeting or worse." Richard's jaw muscles tightened like steel cables. "I've single-handedly protected the hotel and our guests from this obvious threat to public safety." Richard pulled out his phone and speed-dialed. His voice carried across the silent lobby with the authority of absolute power. "Legal department? Richard Whitmore. We have a code-red discrimination incident with potential federal implications. I need our crisis team mobilized immediately." The contradiction explodes. James Mitchell grabbed Patricia's arm desperately. "Patricia, you need to stop talking right now. The new strategic development director, we're supposed to meet him in exactly 2 minutes. I don't care about some diversity hire." Patricia shook him off violently. "Can't you see we're dealing with a clear and present danger here?" "But Patricia, listen to me. The new director is Richard Whitmore's own son," Richard finished, stepping into the circle with the finality of a judge pronouncing the sentence. The lobby went tomb quiet. Even the air conditioning seemed to pause. Patricia's face cycled through confusion, denial, and dawning horror like a broken kaleidoscope. "Son. But you don't have a son. You're not married. The family records show what your grandmother chose to record," Richard said, his voice cutting like surgical steel through flesh. The social media nuclear explosion. Jennifer's live stream peaked at 143,000 viewers. Her phone screen became a blur of comments moving too fast to read. "Oh my God, the plot twist. She slapped the CEO's son. Career suicide in real time. This is better than any Netflix series. Save this video before it gets deleted." 10:59 a.m. "This is impossible," Patricia whispered, but her voice carried in the perfect acoustics. "Our family is... You can't be related to us." Marcus's smile was winter itself. "Patricia, in exactly 60 seconds, you're going to learn that family trees have more branches than you've been taught to see." The board members exchanged meaningful glances. Several checked their Rolexes. The scheduled meeting should start now, but nobody moved. The lobby had become a courtroom, and Patricia stood trial before the entire internet. The final desperate move. Patricia, cornered like a rabid animal, made her last stand. She lunged for Marcus's documents, trying to tear them apart with her manicured claws. "Fake. All fake. I'll prove these are forgeries." But Marcus's hand closed gently over hers, stopping her with surprising strength. His voice remained calm, but authority now rang in every syllable. "Patricia, those documents contain confidential information about your company's restructuring plans. Destroying them would constitute corporate sabotage and federal document destruction." She pulled harder, desperation making her irrational. "I don't care." "You're not who you claim to be." "Actually," said a new voice from behind her, "he's exactly who he claims to be." 11 a.m. The digital clock hit the hour with digital precision. The board meeting should begin. Instead, 80 people watched Patricia Whitmore's world collapse in real time, broadcast to 180,000 viewers and climbing exponentially. Marcus straightened his tie and looked at his father with quiet satisfaction. "Shall we adjourn to the conference room? We have a company to revolutionize." Patricia stood frozen, her hand still clutching torn papers, finally understanding that she'd just destroyed her own career live on the internet while assaulting her own cousin. The twist was coming like a freight train, and she was tied to the tracks. Marcus gently released Patricia's trembling hand and stepped back with the fluid grace of someone accustomed to command. From his inner jacket pocket, not scattered with the others, but protected like a family heirloom, he produced a single document. A birth certificate. Official. Undeniable. State of Massachusetts seal gleaming under crystal chandeliers. Marcus Richard Washington Whitmore, he read aloud, his voice carrying across marble silence. Born October 15, 1996. Mother, Dr. Sarah Elizabeth Washington. Father, Richard James Whitmore. The crowd leaned forward collectively. Jennifer zoomed her camera with surgical precision. The live stream audience held 180,000 breaths. The family truth unfolds. Washington Whitmore? Derek read aloud, his voice cracking with confusion. Marcus's tone carried the weight of buried history. My mother was Dr. Sarah Washington. Brilliant aerospace engineer. Beautiful, brilliant woman who earned her doctorate at MIT alongside my father in 1995. Patricia's face drained to parchment white. They met in advanced systems design. Study partners became lovers. Lovers became family. Marcus's eyes found his father across the circle, despite certain cultural obstacles. The hidden history. Richard Whitmore. Senior stepped forward, his presence commanding absolute attention. At 58, he carried himself with the quiet authority of someone who'd built empires from nothing. Your great-grandfather, Richard addressed Patricia directly, didn't approve of interracial relationships. Neither did polite society in 1995. So when your father was born, certain family members made editorial decisions about our family tree. The physical resemblance became undeniable under scrutiny. Same intelligent eyes, same confident jawline, same way of holding themselves like they owned whatever room they entered. Son, Richard said simply, the word carrying decades of pride and protection. Dad, Marcus replied, the familial warmth breaking through his professional composure for just a moment. The crowd's awakening. Phones captured everything with documentary precision. The Whitmore Industries CEO featured on Fortune covers, known internationally for corporate turnarounds, standing beside the young man Patricia had just brutalized. Jennifer's live stream exploded past 200,000 viewers. Comments became a digital avalanche. Holy shit, the plot twist of the century. She just assaulted the CEO's son. This is the most insane thing I've ever witnessed. Someone call Netflix. This is better than any series. Career-ending mistake in real time. Patricia's world collapses. Cousin? Patricia's voice cracked like thin ice. But the family genealogy? Grandma Margaret never mentioned. Your grandmother Margaret was a complicated woman, Richard said, his tone measured but steel-edged. Progressive in business, traditional in other areas. When she learned about her father's black grandson, she chose selective memory. Marcus added with deadly quiet, I've known about our family connection for 7 years. Since my freshman year at MIT, when I researched our family history for a genetics project. He opened his protected portfolio, revealing not just his doctorate, but a treasure trove of family evidence. A faded photograph from 1996. Richard Sr. in a hospital gown, holding a newborn baby. Wedding photos from 1995. Richard and a stunning black woman in white, both radiating joy. Marcus's Harvard MBA diploma, cum laude Whitmore Industries employment contract, signed 3 months ago, original hotel blueprints from 1923, annotated in his great-grandfather's handwriting, the generational secret. This is my great-grandfather, Marcus said, pointing to a distinguished black man in the 1920s formal wear. Richard William Whitmore. He didn't just work for your great-grandfather, he was his business partner. Patricia stared at the photos like they were written in alien language. They built the first Whitmore Hotel together. Equal partners, best friends, then family, when my grandfather married your great-aunt Catherine in 1952. The evidence mounts. Marcus continued his devastating revelation. Your great-grandfather left detailed journals. I've read every page. The partnership, the friendship, the family connections, all documented until 1965, when the civil rights movement made certain family members uncomfortable with their black relatives. He produced another document, great-grandfather's will, original copy. He left 40% of the company to his black partner's family line. That inheritance was redirected after his death. James Mitchell's face went ashen. As CFO, he knew exactly what those redirected inheritances meant in legal terms. The corporate bomb. That's why I specialized in hospitality management, Marcus explained, his voice carrying newfound authority. Why I studied every Whitmore property, every financial report, every corporate structure. I wanted to understand my heritage before I claimed it. Richard Sr. added with paternal pride, Marcus spent 2 years preparing for this role. Not because of family connections, but because he's the most qualified candidate we interviewed. The live stream moment of truth. Jennifer, still broadcasting to her massive audience, whispered, "This is absolutely unreal." The woman who just racially profiled and assaulted this man is his own cousin, at his own family's hotel, on his first day as an executive. Views climbed past 250,000. Major news outlets began picking up the stream. Hashtag Whitmore Justice started trending globally. The deadly recognition. Patricia stared at the photos, the documents, the undeniable DNA evidence written in bone structure and eye color. Around her, the crowd watched her world implode in real time. Board members shook their heads in professional disgust. Hotel staff looked mortified. Guests filmed with the hunger of people witnessing history. Marcus extended his hand to her, the same hand she'd attacked minutes earlier. His gesture carried impossible grace. "Patricia," he said with quiet dignity, "I came here hoping we could work together. The family business needs fresh perspectives, modern thinking, and authentic inclusion. I have ideas that could revolutionize how Whitmore properties serve all communities." She stared at his outstretched hand like it might bite her. The final twist. "But there's one more thing you should know," Marcus said, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. The lobby leaned in collectively. "I'm not just strategic development director." His smile carried the weight of 7 years planning. "Dad promoted me to Chief Inclusion Officer last week, which means I now oversee all hiring, firing, and disciplinary actions related to workplace discrimination." Patricia's knees nearly buckled. You can't." "I can," Marcus said simply. "And given what just happened here, broadcast to 250,000 people, we need to have a very serious conversation about your future with this company." 11:02 a.m. The board meeting was officially late, but nobody cared. The lobby had become a courtroom, social media had become the jury, and Patricia Whitmore stood convicted by her own actions. Marcus looked at his father with quiet satisfaction. "Shall we discuss the company's new direction?" "I believe we have some policies to implement immediately." The twist was complete. The victim had become the judge, and justice was about to be served with corporate precision. Marcus opened his laptop with the fluid motion of an executive taking control. The MacBook Pro's screen cast blue light across his composed features as he transformed from victim to corporate strategist in seconds. "Patricia, you asked about credentials," he began, his voice carrying new authority that made seasoned board members straighten their spines. "Let me show you some numbers that will clarify exactly who belongs where." The data strikes. First, His fingers moved across keys with surgical precision. The laptop screen displayed a comprehensive presentation. Whitmore Industries, the hidden cost of exclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus addressed the crowd, what you witnessed today isn't an isolated incident. It's a systemic problem costing us millions. Slide 1. Market Penetration Analysis. Whitmore hotels currently capture only 8.3% of the minority business travel market, worth $63.7 billion annually, according to the Global Business Travel Association. His voice carried the confidence of someone who'd memorized every statistic. Patricia, still shell-shocked, stammered, "How could you possibly know our internal market data?" Marcus's smile was winter-sharp. "Because I'm the Director of Strategic Development. I've spent 8 months analyzing every weakness in our competitive position." The board members exchanged meaningful glances. These weren't public numbers. "Furthermore," Marcus continued, "our guest satisfaction scores among minority travelers average 2.3 out of 5 stars. Industry standard is 4.1 stars. That's a systematic failure." Slide 2. Competitive disadvantage. Our competitors dominate markets we've abandoned through cultural short-sightedness. He clicked to the next slide. Hilton captures 31% of minority business travel. Marriott, 28%. Hyatt, 24%. We're dead last among luxury chains. Richard Sr. nodded grimly. The numbers don't lie. Marcus continued with devastating precision. The Diversified Corporate Alliance represents 1,247 companies with combined annual travel budgets of $847 million. How many currently contract with Whitmore Properties? He paused for effect. 0. They blacklisted us 3 years ago after a discrimination incident at our Chicago location. The revenue hemorrhage. Here's what Patricia's attitude costs us annually. Marcus clicked to a detailed financial breakdown. Lost bookings from minority-owned businesses, $4.7 million. Canceled corporate contracts, $12.3 million. Negative online reviews driving away diverse clientele, $8.9 million. Board member Sarah Lane pulled out her own phone, cross-referencing the numbers. Her expression showed confirmation and horror. Total annual loss due to discriminatory practices, $26 million. That's pure profit. We're bleeding because of institutional bias. Derek, the assistant manager, whispered to a colleague, "Those numbers explain why our occupancy rates have been declining." The legal reality check. "But here's where today's incident becomes catastrophic," Marcus said, his tone sharpening like a blade. "Patricia, what you did constitutes multiple federal violations." He advanced to his legal analysis slide. Civil Rights Act Title 7, Workplace Harassment, Section 1981, Denial of Contractual Rights, Americans with Disabilities Act implications if any guests felt unsafe. And given that this occurred on live stream, Jennifer's phone showed 287,000 current viewers. The number climbed in real time. We're looking at viral evidence of institutional discrimination. The Department of Justice prosecuted a hotel chain in Atlanta for similar incidents, $15 million settlement. The federal investigation threat. Moreover, Marcus continued relentlessly, this incident provides probable cause for federal investigation of our entire operation. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission will audit every hiring decision, every promotion, every guest complaint from the past 5 years. James Mitchell's face went ashen. "Marcus, surely they wouldn't." "They absolutely would. The Biden administration established precedent with the Riverside Hotel Group case. Federal investigators found systematic discrimination dating back decades." Patricia's voice cracked. "You're exaggerating. It was just one incident." "One incident caught on camera," Marcus corrected. "How many others weren't recorded?" The financial devastation. Marcus pulled up real-time data. Company stock has dropped 6.2% in the last 90 minutes. That represents $47 million in market capitalization gone. He clicked again. But the long-term damage will be exponentially worse. Boeing just canceled their corporate housing contract worth $3.2 million annually. Goldman Sachs is reviewing their vendor relationships. Microsoft's travel department sent a formal inquiry about our diversity commitments. The crowd murmured. Those were major corporate clients. James Mitchell's phone buzzed incessantly. Marcus is right. Legal estimates, defense costs alone at $5 to $8 million, not counting settlements or business losses. The social media nuclear fallout. The viral video has been viewed 2.3 million times across platforms in under 2 hours, Marcus continued relentlessly. Engagement rate, 89%. Sentiment analysis, 94% negative toward Whitmore Industries. He showed the devastating social media metrics. Twitter, #Whitmore Racism trending in 23 countries. LinkedIn, 847 corporate executives sharing with outrage TikTok. #Hotel Karen videos exceeding 5 million views. Reddit, front page threads calling for boycotts. Instagram, influencers with combined 50 million followers posting condemnation. The NAACP issued a statement 30 minutes ago. The Urban League is organizing protests at all our properties. Jesse Jackson's office called our PR department twice. The celebrity amplification. Marcus clicked to another devastating slide. Celebrity social media responses in the last hour. The screen showed screenshots. Oprah Winfrey, this is exactly why we need corporate accountability. Tyler Perry, boycotting Whitmore hotels until they address this. Ava DuVernay, in 2025, this is still happening. Unacceptable. Combined follower reach, 78 million people, all calling for boycotts. Patricia staggered backward. This can't be happening. The partnership bomb. But here's what truly demonstrates your ignorance, Marcus said, his voice carrying deadly calm. The partnerships I've spent 6 months developing. He clicked to his final slide, revenue projections that made board members lean forward hungrily. The Marcus Washington Inclusion Initiative represents $73 million in confirmed new business over 3 years. Partnerships with historically black colleges, minority-owned corporations, diversity-focused conferences. Richard Sr. stepped forward with paternal pride. Marcus brought us the National Bar Association Conference 2,400 attorneys, $1.8 million in bookings. The Congressional Black Caucus Annual Meeting, $2.1 million. The National Medical Association Convention, $3.7 million. All conditional, Marcus finished, on authentic commitment to inclusion and equality. The corporate testimonials. Marcus clicked again. Letters of intent from Fortune 500 companies. The screen showed official letterheads. Apple Inc. Pending diversity audit completion. Google. Contingent on inclusive workplace certification. Netflix. Subject to anti-discrimination policy implementation. Total value of pending contracts, $127 million over 5 years, all hanging in the balance because of incidents like today. The ultimatum. Marcus closed his laptop and looked directly at Patricia with the calm authority of someone holding all the cards. Here's your situation, cousin. Option 1. You voluntarily take administrative leave for comprehensive sensitivity training. We implement company-wide inclusion policies. We salvage what we can from today's catastrophe. Patricia's eyes flashed with remaining defiance. You can't force me out of my own family's business! The nuclear option. Marcus's expression didn't change by a millimeter. Option 2. This live stream becomes Exhibit A in a federal discrimination lawsuit. Every racist comment you make gets played in court. Your assault on me becomes evidence of institutional bias." He paused, letting the implications sink in. "The legal discovery process will examine every email you've sent, every hiring decision you've influenced, every guest complaint you've handled. How many other incidents will they find, Patricia?" The corporate mathematics Richard Sr. produced his phone, showing Patricia the brutal numbers. Stock down 7.1% now. The legal department projects total exposure at $15 to $25 million in lawsuits alone. He scrolled through news alerts. Wall Street Journal requesting comment. CNN wants an interview. 60 Minutes just called our communications director. James Mitchell, her own uncle, spoke with funeral solemnity. "Patricia, the board has an emergency session in 10 minutes to discuss liability exposure. The insurance company is already questioning coverage. The personal reckoning." "There's one more consideration," Marcus said, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "I could destroy you completely. Criminal assault charges, civil rights violations, make you unemployable in hospitality forever." The crowd held its breath. Jennifer's live stream audience peaked at 340,000 viewers. "But that's not who I am." Marcus's dignity made Patricia look smaller by comparison. "I didn't come here for revenge. I came here to build something better. The final choice. However," Marcus continued, "my restraint has limits. You have exactly 60 seconds to choose. Voluntary cooperation or complete destruction." He checked his grandfather's watch. "Training and supervised re-entry, or termination with cause that follows you forever." Patricia looked around the lobby at recording phones, disgusted faces, her own family's judgment. The walls of privilege she'd lived behind her entire life had crumbled in 90 minutes. The moment of truth. "Your choice affects more than just you," Marcus said with quiet finality. "Every employee here, every guest who trusts our brand, every family member who built this company, they're all watching." He gestured to Jennifer's phone. 350,000 people are waiting for your answer." The digital clock showed 11:09 a.m. 9 minutes that changed everything. Richard Sr. addressed his niece formally. "Patricia Elizabeth Whitmore, as CEO of Whitmore Industries and your uncle, I'm offering you one chance to salvage your career and this family's reputation." The corporate crossroads. Patricia stared at Marcus, the cousin she'd just learned existed, the executive she'd brutally assaulted, the man now holding her entire future in his measured hands. 30 seconds, Marcus said quietly. The lobby fell silent except for the sound of phones recording history. Patricia had built her authority on keeping people like Marcus out. Now she faced a choice: evolve or be destroyed by the very prejudice she'd wielded like a weapon. The irony was perfect. The man she'd tried to exclude now controlled her inclusion. "What's it going to be, Patricia?" Marcus asked with the patience of someone who'd already won. The clock ticked toward her answer. Patricia stared at her reflection in the polished marble floor-scattered documents, recording phones, the cousin she never knew existed but had just humiliated before the world. Her manicured hands trembled as reality crashed over her like a corporate tsunami. She began, then stopped. Her voice cracked like breaking glass. "I need the training." The crowd released a collective breath they'd been holding for 90 minutes. Marcus nodded once, professionally, without triumph or vindication. "Smart choice," Richard Sr. said with the authority of someone who'd built empires. "James, please escort Patricia to HR immediately for administrative leave paperwork." The immediate consequences. As Patricia walked toward the elevator, her designer heels echoing like a funeral march, Marcus addressed the mesmerized crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for witnessing this difficult but necessary moment. What you saw today demonstrates exactly why systematic change is essential." Jennifer ended her live stream after 4.7 million total views, but not before asking, "Marcus, what happens next for Whitmore Industries?" Justice, Marcus replied simply. And then, progress. The emergency board session. Within minutes, the marble lobby transformed into an impromptu corporate war room. Marcus reopened his laptop and projected onto the hotel's massive display screen, turning the public space into a boardroom. Effective immediately, Whitmore Industries implements the following emergency measures, Marcus announced with the authority of someone who'd prepared for this moment for months. Reform 1. The Inclusion Monitoring System. Every guest interaction at every Whitmore property will be monitored by AI-powered bias detection software developed by Microsoft's inclusion team. Marcus showed the sophisticated interface on screen. Discriminatory language triggers immediate supervisory intervention. Guest complaints route directly to corporate inclusion officers. Response time guaranteed within 30 minutes, not 30 days. Board member Sarah Lane leaned forward, impressed. The technology exists? Beta testing completed last month at our competitor Marriott. Results showed 89% reduction in discrimination complaints. Reform 2. Executive Accountability Protocol. All management-level employees undergo monthly inclusion certification with required passing scores. Failure results in immediate suspension pending additional training. Richard Sr. added with steel in his voice. This applies to family members equally. Blood relation provides zero protection from accountability. Marcus clicked to the next slide. Additionally, we're implementing 360-degree feedback systems where staff can anonymously report discriminatory behavior by supervisors. Reform 3. Community Investment Initiative. We're allocating $12 million annually to support minority-owned businesses throughout our supply chain. Marcus displayed detailed partnership projections. Local suppliers, minority contractors, Black-owned catering companies, diverse marketing agencies. Every property must source a minimum 35% of services from historically underrepresented businesses. Derek, now acting manager, raised his hand. What about existing vendor contracts? Grandfathered for 6 months, then subject to competitive bidding that prioritizes diversity without compromising quality. Reform 4. Transparent accountability reporting. Quarterly diversity reports publicly available on our website, tracking measurable progress on inclusion metrics. Real numbers, real accountability, real consequences for failure. Marcus showed mock-up reports. Guest satisfaction by demographic, employee diversity percentages, discrimination complaint resolution times, community investment impact. No more hiding behind corporate PR speak, Richard Sr. declared. If we're failing, the public deserves to know. The immediate implementation. Within 2 hours, concrete changes began cascading through the organization. Derek received immediate promotion to general manager with a $25,000 salary increase and inclusion training certification requirement. All hotel staff attended emergency sensitivity briefings led by corporate inclusion specialists flown in from headquarters. A dedicated inclusion hotline went live with 24/7 staffing by trained counselors. The guest services manual underwent complete rewriting by diversity consultants. Marcus established video calls with all 47 Whitmore properties worldwide, personally explaining the new standards to every general manager. The Legal Resolution Framework. Marcus addressed the legal implications with surgical precision. Given Patricia's cooperation and commitment to genuine change, we won't pursue criminal assault charges. However, the incident remains fully documented for training and legal protection purposes. He looked directly into Jennifer's camera, which she'd restarted for the reform announcement. This isn't about punishment, it's about systematic transformation. James Mitchell, visibly relieved, asked, "What about the federal investigation risk?" "We're preemptively inviting Department of Justice oversight," Marcus replied. "Voluntary compliance audit, full transparency, proactive reform implementation. Turn potential prosecution into partnership." The corporate transformation timeline. Richard Sr. announced to the assembled crowd, Today marks the beginning of the Whitmore accountability era. Every hotel in our international chain will implement these policies within 45 days, not 45 months. The board members nodded approval, several already coordinating implementation calls with regional directors. Marcus added, "We're also establishing the Whitmore Foundation for Hospitality Inclusion, $50 million endowment supporting diversity education in hotel management programs nationwide." The personal healing process. Later, in the now quieter lobby, Marcus spoke privately with Thomas and Luis, the security guards who'd been placed in an impossible position. "You're not in trouble," Marcus assured them. "Institutional bias creates no-win situations for frontline employees. Our job is changing the institution, not punishing individuals caught in its machinery." Thomas, the black guard, nodded gratefully. "Thank you for handling this with dignity, sir. You could have destroyed everyone involved." Marcus replied, "Destroying people doesn't build better companies. Changing systems does." The date of vindication. Within 48 hours, measurable results began flowing. Online reviews shifted dramatically positive, plus 47% satisfaction ratings. Minority business inquiries increased 340% across all properties. 4 major corporate diversity contracts signed, $7.3 million total value. Employee satisfaction surveys showed immediate confidence improvements in reporting discrimination. Stock price recovered completely and climbed 3% above pre-incident levels. The follow-through commitment. Marcus established weekly video conferences with all property managers, creating direct accountability chains bypassing traditional corporate bureaucracy. The first reports showed remarkable progress. 0 discrimination incidents reported system-wide staff confidence in reporting procedures. 96%. Guest satisfaction among minority travelers. Up 52%. Employee diversity in management positions. Up 23%. Patricia's redemption path. 2 weeks into her administrative leave, Patricia sent Marcus a handwritten letter on personal stationery. "I'm learning things about myself, my family, and my assumptions that I should have confronted decades ago. Thank you for choosing transformation over destruction. I don't deserve your grace, but I'm determined to earn it." She'd enrolled in intensive cultural competency training at Georgetown University and was scheduled for psychological evaluation before potential return in 6 months. The industry ripple effect. Other hotel chains began implementing similar policies within weeks, citing the new Whitmore standard in press releases. Hospitality industry publications featured Marcus on covers. The executive who changed everything overnight. Harvard Business School added the incident to their crisis management curriculum as a case study in transforming discrimination into systematic reform. But Marcus consistently told reporters, this wasn't about one incident or one person. It was about building systems where the next Marcus doesn't have to prove his humanity to access his own inheritance. The measurable legacy. 6 months later, Whitmore Hotels led the entire hospitality industry in minority guest satisfaction scores, employee diversity metrics, community investment impact, discrimination complaint, resolution speed. Most importantly, 0 tolerance incidents reported across all properties. Marcus kept his grandfather's watch but added a new daily ritual. Every morning at 10:47 a.m., the exact time Patricia first assaulted him, he reviewed inclusion reports from all Whitmore locations. The ultimate victory. The most powerful change wasn't in policies or procedures. It was a cultural transformation achieved through intellectual supremacy over systematic bias. No lawsuits, no criminal charges, no destroyed careers, just measurable, sustainable progress built on data, dignity, and determination. Marcus had proven that changing minds changes everything. And sometimes, the most powerful revenge is refusing to seek it. 18 months later, Marcus stood in the same marble lobby where Patricia had slapped him, but everything had transformed. The walls now displayed a permanent installation, the inclusion commitment. a pledge signed by every Whitmore employee from janitors to executives. The Grand Metropolitan had become a pilgrimage site for business schools and civil rights organizations. Corporate leaders flew in specifically to study their inclusion model. Marcus kept his grandfather's watch, but added a morning ritual that had become legendary among employees. Every day at 10:47 a.m., he reviewed real-time inclusion reports from all 47 Whitmore properties worldwide, 0 incidents for 387 consecutive days. The personal legacy. Grandpa would be amazed, Marcus told his father during their weekly check-ins at the hotel restaurant, the same space where Patricia had once tried to have him arrested. Richard Sr. smiled over his coffee. He'd be proud of the man you became, not just what you accomplished. Turning hatred into healing, that's true strength. Their conversation was interrupted by familiar footsteps. Patricia approached their table, her posture humble but determined. 18 months of intensive training had genuinely changed her. "Marcus, Mr. Whitmore," she said quietly, "I wanted you to know the Washington, D.C. property just achieved 98% guest satisfaction across all demographics. Best scores in our history." She managed the D.C. location now, having returned from training with genuine transformation and a probationary promotion earned through measurable results. The corporate evolution. Marcus pulled up his tablet, showing the quarterly diversity report that would go public that afternoon. The numbers told a story of systematic transformation. Minority business partnerships, up 450%. Employee diversity in management, 41%. Industry, average, 19%. Guest satisfaction among underrepresented communities, 4.8 out of 5 stars. Revenue from inclusion initiatives, $127 million annually. Stock performance, outpacing industry average by 23%. "We're not perfect," Marcus told Patricia, "but we're measurably better every quarter." The ripple effect. The transformation had spread far beyond Whitmore Industries. Marcus's methods became the inclusion gold standard studied by Fortune 500 companies worldwide. His keynote speeches commanded 6-figure fees, but he donated everything to the Whitmore Foundation for Hospitality Inclusion, now worth $200 million, and funding diversity programs at 73 universities. The original live stream had been viewed 47 million times, spawning documentaries, case studies, and a Harvard Business Review cover story. How one slap changed an industry. The ongoing mission. Marcus traveled constantly now, visiting Whitmore properties and speaking at corporate inclusion summits. His business card read, Marcus Washington Whitmore, Chief Inclusion Officer and Strategic Development Director. The dual title was intentional. Strategy without inclusion is just expensive discrimination. His morning routine never varied. Wake up. Check inclusion reports. Ensure yesterday's progress wasn't lost to today's complacency. The global recognition. The United Nations invited Marcus to address their global compact on corporate responsibility. Fortune named him to their 40 under 40 list. The NAACP honored him with their Corporate Leadership Award. But the recognition that mattered most came from Whitmore employees, a 97% approval rating on anonymous surveys asking, "Do you feel valued regardless of your background?" The viewer challenge. Marcus often ended his corporate speaking engagements with the same challenge that had become his signature. Patricia wasn't uniquely evil. She was predictably biased. The question isn't whether prejudice exists in your organization. The question is, what systems do you have to interrupt before it destroys lives and profits? He'd pause, letting that sink in. Every company has a choice: evolve proactively or be forced to evolve reactively. We chose evolution. What will you choose? Your role in this story. Have you witnessed discrimination that went unchallenged? Have you seen someone's potential dismissed because of their appearance? Have you remained silent when you could have spoken up? Marcus's story isn't just about one family's hotel chain. It's about every workplace, every interaction, every moment when someone's humanity gets questioned based on assumptions rather than actions. The call to action. Share your stories in the comments below. When have you witnessed workplace discrimination? How can companies better support inclusive environments? What would you have done in Marcus's situation? Your story matters. Your voice creates change. Subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more stories of professionals who transformed discrimination into systematic progress. Because change doesn't happen in boardrooms. It happens when ordinary people refuse to accept inequality as ordinary. The final message. Marcus keeps one framed photo on his office desk. The scattered documents from that brutal morning, positioned beside the signed inclusion commitment from 18 months later. Every ending, he tells visitors, is just a beginning wearing a disguise. The slap that echoed through marble halls became the sound that awakened an entire industry. His grandfather's watch still ticks at his wrist. A reminder that time moves forward, but progress requires intention. What sound will your story make? What change will you create when facing your own moment of choice? The next chapter is yours to write. Share this story. Subscribe for more. Let's build inclusion together.